You seem to draw a distinction in terms of the moral footing on which President Reagan stood and President Bush stood. I wondered what that was based upon, because throughout this report you get the clear message that this was directed, at least generally from the top. The president wanted the rebels supported body and soul. He wanted to trade arms for hostages. How can you in any way separate President Reagan from this policy and from this calamity?
The only thing you can't. But the difference is between a motive in a maybe erroneous view that this was in the public interest, and an act which in no way can be justified as an act in the public interest. It can only be either as an act of friendship or an act of self-protection.
How do you separate the moral culpability of a principal, the President Reagan in this case, and his deputy, political deputy, George Bush? How is Bush more culpable than his principal?
Well, I was talking about the pardon. In other words, the pardon is not justifiable, and he was no longer Reagan's deputy. Reagan didn't pardon anybody. Bush did.
Yeah, but that was his constitutional right.
His constitutional right, but his motive is a different question, and it's a perfectly constitutional right.
During the deposition here on page 473, we have Bush on 1/11/88 basically admitting that he was regularly informed of events connected with the Iran arms sales. That was at the very beginning of the '88 presidential campaign. Did you feel that you should have maybe broken that news a little earlier than today?
No, I actually didn't realize that we were breaking any news in the 1988 during the 1988 campaign. We tried to avoid that. Now, we obviously made a misjudgment in the second indictment of Weinberger, but that was not news. That was old information, but it was picked up as though it were new.
In the early months, this is outside your jurisdiction, I realize, but in January of 1988, the hottest issue in the country was whether George Bush knew about the arms deal. And you have at your deposition here on 1/11 of that year that he admitted regularly being informed of events connected with it. Did you keep that information, or was that made public? I forget.
I don't think we were we were just releasing information because of campaign purposes at all, any time.